Yo, what's up guys? This is James bringing you another deck profile here. Today we're going to be going over my new Android 21 list. It took me a little bit of play testing to get this to where I like it, but it feels like it's in a good spot now, so I'm going to go ahead and get you guys the list. So we're going to start off with the leader. She's got no alternate awakening. She just has 4 or less life, draw one, switch one to active mode, and flip her over. On the front, she has a permanent that says you can't play extra cards, you can't activate extra cards, and you can't play cards with skills during your own turn. She also has an auto that if you have an Android 21 Z battle card in play, at the end of your turn you switch one energy to active mode. That's really key for our curve that we want to be hitting with the deck. And then she has an activate main once per turn. Take 1 life, look at the top 5, add an android from among them to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So that's how you get card advantage. It gives you a little bit of self-awakening power. And then you can go ahead and get to the backside, which is where the leader starts getting good. So she has the same permanent during your turn. You can't use skills to play battle cards, but you can now activate extra cards, so that's really nice. And then you can use your opponent's battle cards and unisons to pay for your energy costs, which is the biggest draw of the deck. This is the gimmick of the deck, is that you can use your opponent's cards as energy. It's very powerful. You want to keep in mind that you still have to pay specified costs for cards, so you can't just use them for like your green and your blue pips unless they are a green or a blue unison or battle card. One thing you'll want to keep in mind when using this effect is that you can play around your opponent's like blocker tokens and things like that by like baiting them out and then using them to using your ability to tap the blocker token and then pay for your cards and then just keep attacking. So you can put a lot of pressure on the opponent like that. She also has an activate main once per turn. Draw 1, choose with 3 of your opponent's battle cards or unisons, ignoring barrier, and switch them to active mode. So that forces your opponent into untapping their cards so that you can then use them for mana. And so they basically can't play around your skill. The only way they can really play around your skill is by swinging with everything and then just like trying to keep as few guys in play as possible. But we have a few ways to get around that. So that's the gimmick of the deck. We'll start with the Z deck, since it's pretty important. The main cards that we are going into from the archetype is we've got 2 Android 21 in the name of peace. So this is a unique critical Z stack 1 blue battle cards. So what you'll want to stack is the Android 21 in the name of hunger, which we also are playing 2 of. This has a permanent. When there's no cards under it, it gets minus 5k power. That doesn't really matter. We're never really swinging with this. You don't really want to swing with this. And because you can use it off of the leader, because the leader can also tap your Z Android 21s for mana as well. So you can turn these basically into like mana dorks, land of werewolves, or birds of paradise, or whatever if you play magic. So she has an auto. When it's played, you can add 1 card from your life to your hand. I don't really use that too often because you generally want to stay on the front side of your leader to just keep generating card advantage. But you know, if you really need to take that 1 life, it's a helpful little effect. And then she has a pay a blue auto. At the start of your opponent's main phase, you can pay the blue and then play this out from under her. And then this is a 20k deflect blocker, and then on play, she bottom decks an opponent's battle card and ramps the top card of your deck. She can also, if you hard cast her, she can Z-stack the opponent's battle cards under her, and then she can copy keyword skills off of that. That doesn't really come up. We mostly just get her out into play out of the Z deck from under the 2-drop because it's the most cost-effective way to get her out. So what you really want to be doing is getting a Z energy on turn 1, turn 2 playing this out. At the end of the turn, your leader switches 1 to active mode because you have this in play, and then at the start of your opponent's main phase, after they charge a card, you can pay 1, bring this out, bottom deck a battle card if they have 1, ramp your top card, and then you're all set up. You've got an extra energy plus 2 Z battle cards in play that you can tap for mana once you're on the back side. So that's kind of the fundamental play of the deck and where you want to be going in a perfect world. The rest of the Z deck's pretty straightforward. We got 1 Beerus for, you know, because Beerus is crazy, Cell because Cell's crazy, and then Son Goku stronger together because, you know, some people just get too many cards in their hand. This could also be a... I've seen some people play Vegito, and I messed around with it because you can copy skills with this guard, so you could like play her out of the Z deck and then put a Vegito under her and then gain triple strike. I think it's a little too cute. I just like the utility of having the Goku to be able to rip my opponent's hand back down to 10 if they get out of hand. Start with the easy cards in the deck. We've got 4 Android 18, Measureless Strength. It's just, we don't really rival her. We just use her as a check land 90% of the time because we need to have blue-green energy to make most of our plays work, and then she also is a top 5 search for an android, so you know we can stay extra consistent. like that. We've got 4 of Android 21 Ceaseless Despair. This is our boss monster. You should basically always play 4 of this card in the deck because it also has a permanent. If your leader is Android 21, it has no combo cost. So it's just extra super combos in the deck. It's kind of like Son Goku Rival Seeker for the Invoker deck. It's just crazy, and then the boss is also crazy. You know, deflect, double strike, dual attack. If your opponent activates a counter skill, not even in her combat, not even counter attack. If they activate counterplay or anything while she's in play, they pitch 2. And then at the end of your turn, you switch up to 5 energy to active mode. So, you know, crazy. She costs 8, but she has 5 specified costs. So if you have 5 energy up and your opponent has 3 cards in play, you can tap. You can play her on turn 5. You can even play her earlier if your opponent's playing a blue or a green deck because they can cover the specified cost for you. We also have a couple of ways to cheat her out in the deck as well. Next up, we've got 4 Android 21 full power counter. I only have 3 right now because one of them is on loan to somebody. Shoutouts to Adam, but this is also an auto 4 of in the deck because it's a check land. It's just, it has no energy exhaust as long as your leader's a blue android, and it's a crazy strong floodgate. It's a double strike 25k, and then you can counterattack play it. It doesn't stop the first attack, so it's kind of like dormant, so the attacker keeps going. But when it's played, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, place it in the owner's drop, and your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they bottom deck a card from their hand and they drop a Z energy. Place 1 card from their hand and their Z energy drop. So they have to drop a card from their hand, not bottom deck it. The blue and the green gets a little confusing because they do different gimmicks. But so you can negate you can counterattack an opponent's attack, play her, and then if they're attacking with a battle card and they miss sequenced, you can bottom deck the attacking card, then they have to go under the floodgate for the rest of the turn. It's really, really strong. You're taxing their hand and their Z energy, which is basically like taxing their hand twice. Kind of, because they had to put cards from their hand into the Z energy. Very strong. It's also just, 25k double strike. It's also barrier removal. You can just play it on your turn too if you want to. And it has 3 specified costs. You can get it down to essentially a cost of 3. So it's very strong. 4 of Android 21 Total Audacity. This card's crazy. I think this is the strongest card in the deck, actually. It's a 20k deflect double strike auto limit 1. When it's played, you draw 2, and at the end of your opponent's next turn, they get a clone token. So the clone token is the fact that they get it at the end of their turn is crazy because it means you just get free ramp off of this. You can use it to then pay your costs for all of your other 21s. It's great. 20k double strike is incredible too. It's just a lot of pressure you can put on the opponent, and drawing 2 is just nuts. It also only has specified cost of 2, so this is essentially just a 2-drop. 2-drop come into play, 20k double strike, draw 2, and ramp 1. It's insane. This card's crazy. Next up, we've got only 3 of the Android 21 Wavering Will. This is a card I really like. I would sideboard a 4th one for sure, depending on the matchups, because I just was trying to cut space down. I'm at 52 cards right now. I really try to stick to 50 as much as I possibly can. So this card is a critical blocker, counterplay, play this card, and then when it's played, choose 1. If it's your opponent's turn, you draw 1. If it's your turn, you bottom deck one of your opponent's battle cards, and then you switch her to active mode at the end of the turn. So then you can block with her. The main use for her is as a counterplay. So the counterplay doesn't really do anything, but what you want to note is that if they're playing a battle card off of a skill, what you can do is window 2, play her, use your leader's ability to tap their card that they're playing as part of the cost, and then play her. You can only do that if they're playing a card with a skill, because there has to be 2 counter windows for there to be a window 2, and the card has to already be in play for that to work. But against decks that just spam cards with skills, it's like a Crusher Ball that comes into play, draws a card, and gives you a 20k crit blocker. It's insane. Like, I would definitely side the 4th one of this for matchups that just want to spam dudes off of skills. It's a little weaker in the mirror, and there's some decks that just hard cast guys like Beerus Ramp and stuff like that, but for the most part it's just crazy good. Our other Android 21 is we're playing 4 of the 1-drop from the set. I'm not playing any of the old 1-drop just because of room. I just can't really find room for that card, and like I said, I want to stay as low to the ground as possible when it comes to my deck count. This is a come into play, search your top 5 for an android, put it in your hand, so it's a great way to build card advantage. Then at the end of the opponent's next turn, they gain a clone token, so it gives you a little bit of that pseudo ramp. Or if you combo it from your hand, they get a clone token immediately, so this can let you, on your turn, aggressively combo, and then give them a thing in play to then pay for your costs. So very strong. This is the best 1-drop in the deck because you can just play it on turn 1, attack or defend out of an attack with this, and then that's your Z energy to go into the 2-drop from the Z deck. Our other 1-drop we play is 4 copies of Pan, Glimpse of Talent. This card's a little It's a little high rolly. You could play the other Android 21 instead of this, but I like this card a lot because it's kind of cheeky. It's a barrier, ATB draw a card, and then you can activate main, give it to the opponent, and then they have a blue card in play to tap for your blue specified costs. So this is the strongest card to play on your Awakening turn. I always felt like because you want to have one on your Awaken turn, so you want to have something to pay. Use one energy up on the turn you awaken, and you can't tap your opponent's cards to cheat out your cards before you're awakened, so it's best to have a 1-drop that you can drop, and this, basically you get to play it, tap your energy, draw 1, awaken, untap that energy, and then you can give this to the opponent, so this is basically like a ramp 2 on the turn you awaken, so this turns your awaken turns into really, really high roll turns. If you can awaken on like turn 4, like you can drag the awaken out a little later, you can then get the 8-drop out a turn early, which is really, really strong. She's also just a barrier coming to play draw cards, so she's really good on turn 1 because she just is combo power that replaces herself. We all know how good this card is in just every deck. We can't play the Piccolo package because of the leader permanent, but that's cool. It doesn't really matter too much. We've got 2 copies of Android 21, a Bad Omen. I was playing 4. 4 was very clunky. My original game plan was I wanted to just start spamming this as early as possible, but it's not as feasible as I thought it would be. I really liked it at 3. I'd like to try and find room for a 3rd copy of this card, honestly, just because I feel like I close a lot of my games out by like baiting them into token negating at 3, and then just playing 2 Bad Omens to crit them down to 1, and then they can't token negate again, and then you just kill them. So having 2 to have that consistent endgame plan would be a 3rd one to get this consistent 2 for the endgame would be nice, but you know, space is a consideration, and you can't play this from your energy because your leader... Okay, we're back. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulties with my camera here, but I can finish out the profile now. So yeah, 21, Bad Omen, great card. Not as good as I thought it was going to be, but still pretty good. Super combos. For Android 8, it's tutorable and it draws a card, so it's really good. I like the card draw in this deck because you are a little weak to aggro since you can't activate extra cards on your front side, and having the tutorable super combo really helps with that. Speaking of being weak to aggro, we've got 4 copies of Android 17 Defending Friends. Crazy strong Floodgate, plus, you know, it's tutorable, it's on archetype, it's great. We've got 2 copies of Sun Gohan Power Reclaimed. We're pretty much never using him for the pay 3, but you know, that's an option that is available to us. It's not horrible, but we're mostly using him as the spot removal. It's very strong. Again, anti-aggro tool. 2 copies of SS Rose Goku Black Mortals Be Gone. I'm just trying this card out. It's not like a... This is kind of a flex slot. This is where like the extra Bad Omen or something might come in. Then we've got our last couple of battle cards here. We've got the Secret Rare. This card is crazy. Sorry, I got a little glare from my light here, but yeah, this card is nuts. It can gain you life back. It's an Android 21. It's tutorable. It's just it does everything. It gets rid of your opponent's cards, ignoring barrier. It's just crazy good. All right, we can get into the extra cards now. We're not playing a ton of them, but we are playing a few, because once you get to the backside, you really want to have a hard defensive line. So we've got 2 copies of Unstoppable Technique. Not sure if this is better than just having 4 copies of D-Magic. I've just got a 2-2 split right now. Like a 3rd D-Magic and 2 Unstoppable Technique might be good. This is nice because it doesn't require sparking, and it's for the free negate, and it gives your opponent a clone token, which is kind of like pseudo ramp. Plus the artwork's nice. I got the collector's one, so you know I gotta play it. Then we've got 4 copies of Sensu Bean, because once we get to that backside, we really want to just hold on for dear life, because we've only got 4 life to work with. And then our last card in the deck is 1 Majin Buu Assault of the Agents of Destruction, because it's our 2nd blue secret rare. It's really good. Really, really good. So yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, you basically want to just stay on the front as long as possible in most matchups, and then turn 2, the ideal curve is you're going to play this out after playing like a 1-drop and then using it for Z energy. Play this out, get the 4, and then start just using your opponent's cards to as energy and just kind of womping them with you know, overwhelming value. So yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. Hit me up in the comment section if you got any questions, any suggestions, anything like that. I'm going to be tweaking with this deck a little bit. I really liked old Android 21. I played her a lot back in the set 8, set 9 days, and I was never really smart enough to play her after that because she felt like she got a little power crept out, and this deck seems really good. So going to be messing around with it, and I'm going to be messing around with her cards in Gamma a lot as well. Got to keep the Android dream alive. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.